What is up, perps? We are here for another episode of Paper Cuts. Yeah, I'm still trying to catch up. And they keep putting out bills, and I'm never going to catch up, unfortunately. But we're still going to cover them. So, on this episode of Paper Cuts, let me get back to actually showing off some cuts. I can't remember whether I've showed this one before. This one I have to finish painting. This is my man Flying Rich crashing his airplane into a car, into a house. Sorry, Rich. I'm trying to get caught up. I'm so behind on cuts right now. It's not even funny. But I'm working on it. I've got 2/8 or I've got a couple of guys out there right now. And I've got another special one. I got to check with a couple people to see whether it's cool for me to go ahead and post that cut or not. And as soon as I can, I'm going to shoot a video on that. Pretty cool cut, and it's for a good purpose. Anyway, for this episode of Paper Cuts, kids, let me do this. Let me go ahead and screen share. And as usual, I'm just going to share the full screen. Oh, hold on. Nope. Let me do something. God, stop. Alright. Ta-da! Now we should have it kicking. Now we should. Alright. Let's see. Let me get a couple things squared here. Stick myself up here for a sec. Get rid of that. And bring up this. This one I didn't have to go through and edit a whole lot of stuff. I could have, but I didn't. So, this is a safe storage law. And, as usual, the Democrats are doing some pretty shady shit. Pretty interesting to watch, in a way. And I brought up this other bill that I've already covered because these two actually go together. So, this is their safe storage bill. So this is introduced on 5/25. This bill is still moving right now. As a matter of fact, part of this is actually written into that last Saving Our Children bill, whatever they call it. Part of this is in there. Some of it's not. Some of it is. So this is H.R. 3509. This is to amend the Consumer Product Safety Act to direct the Consumer Product Safety Commission to establish a consumer product safety standards for firearms locks and firearm safes and for other purposes. Well, why would they get the Consumer Product Safety Board involved in gun locks and gun safes? Well, it's another way to regulate you. And then we're going to walk through this. Remember, I don't rehearse these things. I read the bill and then shoot a video. So they go wherever they go. But let's get into this. Some of the normal, useful, absolute idiots are on here. Miss Jai Paul. Mr. Cicilline, David Cicilline, Karma, Lynch, Morrell, Miss Eleanor Holmes Norton, who can't park her own damn car, Scanlon, who's another absolute moron, which, hell, all of them are morons, Jesus Christ, what am I saying? Their name is basically synonymous with being morons. So let's get into this. So again, to amend the Consumer Product Safety Act may be cited as the Safe Gun Storage Act 2021, Consumer Product Safety Standards for Firearms Locks and Firearms Safes. In general, the Consumer Product Safety Act, yada yada, is amended by adding the end of the following. Shit, I'm gonna learn to talk. I promise. One of these days. I can actually speak quite eloquently sometimes, believe it or not. So Section 43, this is added in at the end of the Consumer Product Safety Act. Consumer Product Safety Standards for Firearms Locks and Firearms Safes. So they go through rulemaking, notwithstanding rule blah 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 blah, shall initiate rulemaking. We all know what the ATF is doing with rulemaking right now, which is just making shit up as they go. That's what they intend to do with this. Consumer Product Safety Standard for Firearms Locks, a Consumer Product Safety Standard for Firearms Safes. Now understand, your average firearms locks, which I've got some laying around here somewhere, and safe, will basically disable your average firearm. Let me see. Clear firearm, not a mag. Alright. So for something like a handgun, again, clear, you can see all the way through. So the firearms locks, you guys know, would either go through the slide, through the ejection port, out the grip, and then you'd lock it so the slide could not go forward and engage, and there could possibly be a mag in the gun. So even if there's a round stuck in the chamber, you wouldn't be able to get the gun in the battery to fire it. But they're very simple locks. Cut them off with bolt cutters, cut them off with a grinder, hacksaw, any number of different tools, you could cut that lock off. Because understand, if you've got this thing locked, it's not like it's secured to the earth in some way. Someone can pick it up with the lock, walk away from it, and then cut the lock off at their convenience. You also have trigger locks. Trigger locks go into the trigger guard. They will keep you from being able to engage the trigger on a firearm. Even if the mag's in, no matter what, even if there's around the chamber, you can't engage the trigger. Again, that's another lock where, yeah, the firearm is locked, but you can walk off with the firearm and then drill the lock out, and then you've got the firearm fully functional. Bang, bang, kids. So when we see something like the Consumer Product Safety Board getting involved, what they are going to do is overcomplicate this shit and make it impossible to have a secure lock, because their standards are going to be so high. It's going to be the same way with gun safes. Their standards will be so high to where you're basically going to have a $4,000 safe to meet their standards. This is the way the government works, kids. Let's bounce through this. Let's see. Apparently my stuff's on a loop right now for some reason for that one song. Let's see. Final rulemaking notwithstanding any other provisions. The Commission shall promulgate final consumer product safety standards under this paragraph within 12 months after date of enactment or after they meet. Each final consumer product safety standard promulgated under this paragraph shall take effect 6 months after the date on which the standard was promulgated. Requirements for firearms locks. Standard for firearms locks promulgated under paragraph shall require locks that are sufficiently difficult for unauthorized user to deactivate or remove. And realize, folks, they get to say what is sufficiently difficult. Never mind to steal my firearms. You have to go through a system of locks and doors to steal my shit in the first place. And for those of you who don't know this, the locks on my doors are for your safety, not mine. Because if you break into my home, there's going to be something that you are going to run into. It could take various forms. They're firearms. Now, it could come in various forms, could come in various calibers, but you are going to run into something. And it's not going to be a good day for you. Is what it is. But again, getting back to their stuff, they will make these locks so difficult that they will be so expensive you almost can't afford them. or it's going to take industry forever to catch up with their rules, so any of your firearms won't be considered safely stored. Alright, let's see. Requirements for firearm safe. Standard for firearm safes promulgated under the yada yada. It's basically the same thing they're saying about the other ones. Reliably secure firearms from unauthorized users and include reliable security features, quality and construction to reliably prevent unauthorized users from gaining access to firearms by damaging or physically manipulating the safe. Again, they're going to make this so damn complicated that your average safe that you see out there right now, that is your average gun safe, like I own, like others own, well, those are going to be useless. They're not going to be considered a safe storage device. Even though it is in this big metal case, has reinforcing bars on it, it's still not going to meet their standards when they come out with them. Let's see. Does not apply to this section. Does not apply to this section. I swear I've covered this bill before, or maybe I've just covered so many bills like it. It is what it is. Enforcement notwithstanding subsection, the Consumer Product Safety Standards promulgated by the Commission under subsection A1 shall be enforced under this Act as if such standard were Consumer Product Safety Standards described in Section 7A, which is... Alright, definitions, firearm, same terms. Firearms lock means a disabling or locking device that is not built into the firearm at the time of manufacture and is designed to prevent the firearm from being discharged unless the device has been deactivated or removed. Term firearm safe means a container that is advertised to be used to store firearms and is designed to be unlocked only by means of a key, combination, or other similar means. Now, they are authorized to be appropriated to the Consumer Product Safety Commission $2 million to carry out the provisions under Section 43 of the Consumer Product Safety Act, as added by Section 2, such sums to remain available until expended. So they're going to pay these idiots $2 million to sit around and come up with standards that nobody's going to be able to meet, not reasonably anyway. And if you don't meet those standards with your locks or safe, your firearms are not considered stored safely. Realize there's no real legal enforcement in that part. What they're waiting on and what this bill goes to is at S190 over here on the right. Now, I'm not going to read S90 all the way through. I've done it before. You can look in some of my early episodes of Paper Cuts. This came out February, so this is going to be really early on in the Paper Cut series. I don't even think I'd named it Paper Cuts at the time I covered this. I think my video titles were just yada yada about the bill or bullshit. So this is a safe storage. This is Ethan's Law. This is also in that big monstrous bill that the House just passed. Now, what I want to get to in here, where's that? Federal exceptions, penalty. Here it is, penalty. So, any person who violates subparagraph A, which is the safe storage stuff. Again, going back to the consumer product. It's all about the safe storage. Anybody who violates subparagraph A shall be fined $500 per violation. So if they walked in this house right now, because I'm working on certain guns and I've got a couple others that I've been cleaning. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 guns in here that are in various stages of me working on them, cleaning them, and that's all stuff I'm working on today. I'm just kind of bouncing. So that's $500 times 8. So what, $4,000? I just number off the top of my head. I didn't. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a few $1,000s. If they walked in right now, none of these firearms would be considered stored safely right now. Certainly, they don't have the locks and all the other BS on them because I'm actually working and manipulating them. But they could say that these firearms now are not within my realm of control if I walk out of this room. Basically, what they call wingspan. If I can't reach out without bending, twisting, or turning and put my hand on it, it's outside the realm of my control. So all of those would be considered not stored safely, $500 pop per. And they get to confiscate them. With the consumer product safety stuff, if my locks or my safe didn't meet their standard, then they would be considered unsafe storage, and it would be the same thing. $500 per violation, and they confiscate it. These people are not playing by the same rule book that you think they are restrained by. I don't get why people can't see that these days, considering everything that's going on. You're either not paying attention or you just are too dense to understand it. And then when I did the safe storage bill, there were some people that told me, well, there's no way that'll pass. Not even in the house. Guess what, kids? That big, basically omnibus bill they just pushed through, this is in there, and this is going to the Senate. And we're probably just another bad shooting away from these assholes passing this. So, that is where that is at. So anyway, that's this episode of Paper Cuts, kids. HR 3509. And remember, they just keep stacking it on. One cut at a time. One little old paper cut at a time. Slice, slice. Like giving someone blood thinners and then just going through and nicking them a little bit here and there and here and there and here and there and here and there. Even though those wounds aren't deep, even though it's just capillary blood, it's not really venous blood, people still bleed out. Ask hemophiliacs. That's what they're doing to our rights. So, anyway, that's this one, kids. Y'all be cool. I am out.